Only 74 days left until Election Day, and the war of words is only getting uglier. The two nominees are now focused on which candidate is more intolerant of others.
Hillary Clinton is a bigot who sees people of color only as votes, not as human beings worthy of a better future.
Donald Trump has shown us who he is, someone who is very much peddling bigotry and prejudice and paranoia.
Well, that was yesterday, and the bigotry allegations got stepped up a few notches today.
Trump is reinforcing harmful stereotypes and offering a dog whistle to his most hateful supporters. So no one should have any illusions about what's really going on here. The names may have changed. Racists now call themselves racialists. White supremacists now call themselves white nationalists. The paranoid fringe now calls itself alt-right. But the hate burns just as bright. And now Trump is trying to rebrand himself as well.
It's the oldest play in the Democratic playbook. When Democratic policies fail, they are left with only this one tired argument. You're racist, you're racist, you're racist.
Okay, so a lot of, people talking online, Twitter, et cetera, about the tone coming from both camps today. It felt a little bit different today. Things were getting more intense, more specific in terms of allegations of racism, bigotry. Dana, from a communications perspective, is this where they should be at this point of the game before the election?
I think it was inevitable because it was bubbling up. I think Donald Trump is right that it doesn't matter who the Republican is. At some point, the left will say that that person is racist. I mean, they tried to pin that on Mitt Romney, of all people. I mean, that was extremely offensive to him. But there is a problem with this alt-right movement, and many people at this table and at this network have been targets by these people that hide behind their little Twitter accounts and write horrible, disgusting things about not just liberals, but about people like me.
Yeah.
And I'm pointing to myself in that I've been a lifelong Republican. I was the first Republican woman to serve as White House press secretary. I have dedicated my career to trying to advance conservative principles and to try to win national elections. And so that was sort of bubbling up. Trump opens the door a little bit because of basically not shutting those people down. Right? Not just saying, you are not welcome here. It goes back to the David Duke thing. He eventually disavows him, but it left a mark. And so I think what she was trying to do is, well, let me back up. There was something said on TV this afternoon suggesting that Hillary Clinton gave this speech today because her campaign is so worried that Trump is actually making inroads with the minority community. I don't think that's it at all. I think that Hillary Clinton, one, thinks is a real problem about white nationalism, masculine as white supremacy, all that stuff. But I also think that she saw this as an opening to destroy what's left of the Republican Party. She gave probably the best speech of her campaign, and it will definitely leave a mark. And it doesn't matter that last night in Jackson, Mississippi, in front of a really white crowd, that Donald Trump calls Hillary a bigot, which is such strong language. I don't think from a communication standpoint, to get back to your question, do I think it's where they should be? No, I wish it wasn't where they had to be, but I do think that this fight was coming, and I guess it's probably good to get it done and out of the way and have this fight before Labor Day so that the rest of the campaign can focus on important issues.
Yeah, you would think this would not come at all and wouldn't be a good idea. Okay, Brian, I see you.
All right, a couple of things. Number one, she hit her best combination in late August. She hit with I can hit him with the right, I can take him out with the left, and I'm going to throw the punch early in the fight. Man, if this was October, I'd say, wow, you really just want to make this guy unelectable. But here we are in a speech that was supposed to be about something entirely different. It was supposed to be a speech that was going to be a focus on small business, and she quickly changed it. I differ from you in one area, Dana. I do think that she saw that she was taking on water over the last few days, over the last few weeks.
On what?
She wanted to take on water from the emails, to the foundation, to the linkage.
She wanted to change the subject.
She wanted to change the subject. And she said the way to do it is to go at him. Because if he didn't draw blood on her tactically, she would not have been doing this today. She'd been more than happy to continue with the L.A. fundraisers, talk about small business, and go back to sleep.
I would agree with you except for this point. One, tactically, you have to hand it to her. Okay, that was a good way to change the subject.
It's
And
extreme,
two, the
though.
other subject that we're going to talk about in the next block is not Hillary's emails. It is Trump's flip-flop on immigration. So it's not like he's trying to help himself by keeping the focus on her. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, but I would say this. This was an extreme speech. I don't think anybody that knows Donald Trump thinks he's a white supremacist. I don't think he's a racist. And she's saying because these white supremacists support him, he has to be one. And that slick, less than slick ad does not tell the story.
And she is trying to paint all Republicans with this broad brush based on this very fringe, very small group of trolls that exist anonymously on Twitter and say the most vile things. Awful. That's what she was trying to do.
Sitting right here.
Right.
Just say my name.
Greg, this time it's not you.
I know. I'm
Is this
sure,
going to backfire?
I bet you 2 days ago, Hillary thought alt-right was like a computer key. And then somebody had
alt-right delete.
Yeah, alt-right delete, and then
My emails.
But you know, it
All
is.
of them.
There's so many things here. Okay, so it's like the bigot Olympics today. It was like, who is the worst bigot? So Trump says she's a bigot because her policies have affected negatively the inner cities. He's a bigot because he surrounds himself with people who might be racist and he doesn't refute racism. The bottom line is neither of them are racist.
They're not.
They're not. None of them are. We are just in a really stupid election.
Yep.
We're
Really
screwed. This is how low we've gotten that we are sitting here talking about this crap. Also, I mean, Hillary hit him on birtherism. Didn't she kind of start that when she was running against Obama? The other thing, too, is we have to remember that, that what she's doing is what we all do. Like when the new Black Panthers came out, we said, okay, we used that to paint a picture of the Democratic Party. Right? I did it with Occupy Wall Street. Whenever Occupy Wall Street would come up, I go, oh, look at the left, look at the left. So what this is, what the alt-right is political appropriation. It's like cultural appropriation. It's like they infiltrated conservatism. They took things that mattered, like the war on radical Islam, right? Immigration policy, the politically correct movement, and how it's polluted our speech. And they've kind of put this weird white nationalist veneer of it. They've peed in our pool, essentially. And we have the responsibility to call them out. The problem is when you call them out, you give them more credence.
Yep.
They don't.
I did not know anything about the alt-right.
That's what I'm saying.
Up until the last couple of days. I never even heard of it.
And the point is now she was smart. She took it.
Yeah.
She was smart. She took it. She made it into a big thing. I think Donald Trump was right to pre-buttal. He did a pre-buttal. I thought that was a good move. And he brought up the point that you did. You're right. The last refuge of a wrong argument is to call somebody a racist.
In August. You're doing it in August.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
it's a hot month.
Juan, what did you think about today? You've been covering politics for so many
well, let
years.
me just say, I think that there was no choice. I mean, she did, first of all, great speech. Great speech.
I thought it was terrible.
That was a wonderful speech. I will leave that up to whatever you want, but that was an effective speech and compelling. And let me just say, at this table, everybody's saying, oh, she's really attacking the whole Republic. She's not attacking the Republic. She's not attacking John McCain, who said Barack Obama is a good man. You may disagree with him, but he is an American. He's not attacking George W. Bush, who was visiting mosque after 9/11 and
But
saying
she doesn't need to.
She's not attacking Bob Dole, who told racists, go for the exit at the Republican National Convention when he was running. What she is attacking is very real. And at this table, again, people say, oh, well, this is just political speech. Let me just tell you something. Remember, this is Donald Trump, who went after Judge Curiel, who says we should build a wall throughout all the immigrants. This is a guy who was prosecuted by the Justice Department for discrimination, racial discrimination in buildings that he was housing and his tenants. Let me just remind you that when white supremacists like David Duke say, if you don't vote for Donald Trump, you're a traitor to the white race, that's a pretty strong message.
But on the other side, you can easily find in the fringe, on the left, endorsing Hillary, or any liberal. I mean, the new Black Panthers supported candidate Obama. He had Reverend Wright on his side. Everybody plays the fringe game.
The Communist Party endorses Hillary Clinton.
That's true.
Let me say, this is not my eye, your eye,
Right.
and
Yes,
you
it
did
is.
it to me. No, it is. Let me tell you something. The
But that's
American
the way they
people
made it.
know the truth here. Polls show 65 of all U.S. adults say the tag racist attaches to Donald Trump to some degree. But 35% of Americans say it attaches to Donald Trump absolutely and very well. 35, that's all Americans. So she's not, this is not something that was invented as a political
stunt.
stunt.
I mean, do you think that if it wasn't for the outright 7-day, 8-day push, 9-day push by Donald Trump to say to the black community, I want your vote, and fill in the blanks after that she'd be making that speech? And the Hispanic community at the meeting today?
That wasn't it.
But she was supposed to talk about small business.
Doesn't matter.
If he wasn't making inroads, if he wasn't making, she thought she won already.
He is
and
not
now she was forced out of a case.
Brian, I don't know what poll you may have seen, but she is not making any inroads with black voters, or I mean, he's not making any inroads with black voters specifically or Latino. Nothing.
I actually think that, Brian, I actually think that the promotion of Steve Bannon, who was running Breitbart News, to campaign CEO was the motivation for her to give the speech, not that there was a concern for her in the polls. And that happened earlier this week.
Go ahead.
I just have a quick question I just want to follow up on because I think it's so important. We've been talking about the impact on women who turn out to vote, and obviously this is a group that he needs to do better with. It's a group that obviously she wants to stay and keep control and gather more from. The impact of some of these incendiary comments and baiting back and forth, what toll will it take, if any?
I think that, for me, I don't want to be called a racist, and I don't want to be lumped in with a bunch of people that say that that I would ever support a racist. Like, I don't want that. And so in some ways, you could see Republican women becoming defensive and saying, how dare you suggest that? But I don't think that's what she did, if you listen and watch the speech. I thought last night, when he called Hillary Clinton a bigot, I was like, I'm just going to make sure I understand what the word bigot means. So I went on the Google, and I checked it out, and I'm like, okay. Neither of them, as you're saying, neither of them are bigots.
Yeah.
Neither of them are racist. I cannot wait until the baby boomers are no longer running for president, because I actually think that this kind of racial tension like this actually goes away when that generation's politicians are no longer running for president. And this will be their last go-round.
It was away for 8 years. It was away. We were not talking race like we were over the last 7.5 years.
I want to something we have to say as somebody who has been a conservative and a libertarian since 1988. I work for the American Spectator. I've written books on conservatism. There's nothing right about the alt-right. There's nothing.
They're not even conservative.
They're not conservative. If you look at their beliefs, they're anti-everything. They're the equivalent of the radical left in that you want to destroy something without the idea of replacing it. And the fact that we're talking about them, we are feeding a troll.
She started it.
She brought it up today.
That's
very smart.
No, I think Kimberly's onto something when she asked you that question about your reaction, Dana. Because yesterday at the table I said, Dana, I think a lot of this is directed at Republican women, at you, I was going to say, who are concerned about this. And if you look at Donald Trump's numbers right now with white women, you see that he's at a negative. He's losing white women.
He's underperforming with every demographic, and I don't know what they're going to do to turn that around, especially if you are just looking tactically at battleground states. I'm all for outreach to Latinos and African Americans. I'm all for it. But you have a very narrow path to get to 270 electoral votes. And this last few days is not going to cut it.
And it doesn't play out by having Donald Trump in Mississippi with Nigel Farage, the nationalist from Europe, talking about white nationalists. This is craziness.
Say a Farage with a little biscuit and a little Brexit on the side. And leave Dana Perino alone.
Yeah,
I'll come after
you. Mean people.
Yeah. Do I hate these people on that, Greg? All right. Much more to come on The 5. They're just jealous.